So the United States is not the only country in North America dealing with challenges to its democracy. As it turns out, there's big problems going on in Mexico as well. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So many of us were thrilled to see Lula defeat Bolsonaro in Brazil. And although Bolsonaro has now started claiming that there was electoral fraud and the whole Trump big lie thing, it appears that for the most part, Brazilian democracy succeeded in the last election, and the right-wing Trumpist authoritarian Bolsonaro has been put out to pasture. But it turns out now that the leftist president of Mexico is trying to undermine its democracy there. Now, this is something to be really worried about, given the fact that for 71 years, up until the year 2000, Mexico was essentially a single-party authoritarian government controlled by the PRI, the Institutional Revolutionary Party, roughly translated, sometimes referred to as the PRI. It was an amazing accomplishment in 2000 that the PRI, for the first time in 71 years, was displaced from the presidency. And since then, with few exceptions, they've kind of been pushed more and more out of government, to the point where they're little more than just one of several parties competing for power in Mexico, kind of the way things are supposed to be in a democracy. The problem is that current president Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who was elected in 2018, also ran in 2006, losing narrowly to Felipe Calderón, with Roberto Madrazo, the leader of the PRI, coming in a distant third. Since then, Obrador has been nursing a Trump-sized complaint about that election, refusing to concede and insisting that the election was stolen from him. Well, now that he gained power in 2018, he's trying to change the system to make it easier for the party in power to control the levers of government, kind of the way the PRI did things before the year 2000. The issue is the makeup of the National Electoral Institute, known as the INE, that is basically the organization that oversees the elections in Mexico. That organization is made up of elections law experts who are confirmed by a 2/3 vote of the Senate. That organization signed off on Obrador's election in 2018. His fear is, though, that if he loses in the next election in 2024, that they will correctly certify the real winner. And he's concerned about allowing that. He's proposed a change in the makeup of the board that would essentially allow the president to appoint a certain percentage of the members, the Congress to appoint a certain percentage of the members, and the Supreme Court to appoint a certain percentage of the members. And their terms of office would run the same length of time as the president, giving the president total power over that commission. Well, as it turns out, Mexicans care about their democracy, much as we saw Americans do here in the United States. As a result, there were huge protests against this, and it appears unlikely that Obrador is going to be able to change the Constitution to get this done. But this is just one more example of an electoral sore loser undermining the institutions that make democracy work. And much as this behavior has done incredible harm here in the United States, and how frankly it's a miracle that we avoided a similar fate in Brazil, the fact that we've got the president in charge of the country currently pushing this type of narrative is really a scary thing. It's frankly what I expect we would see if Trump were elected president in 2024. As we know, though, the United States, Canada, and Mexico have a very close relationship. And so my hope is that President Biden and Prime Minister Trudeau will send a strong message to Mexico that they need to remain committed to their democratic institutions. Because when countries flout those democratic norms, that's when we start to run into big problems with that country's stability. Just look at what's going on in Venezuela. Well, if you want to see my video that I did a little while ago about the impressive victory by Lula in Brazil, why don't you check out this video over here? I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.